What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Career Mode. This is episode number 47. We start today's stuff on the back of our win over Nice. There was some pretty sus defending in that episode, not gonna lie. From 4-1 up, I almost totally blew it. 4-3, both of those late goals for Nice coming through. Failed play out from the back attempts, if you will. And, you see our fixture here for October as we wrap up September. I don't know what I was doing there, skipping through November. Obviously, I have conceded a lot of goals trying to pass out from the back. I have had some criticism from you guys as well. And believe me, I'm my own biggest critic. No one is more frustrated than me when I try and play the ball out and just totally give the AI a goal. But I have said a few times before, this is one of the things which I'm really happy about in this year's FIFA, because, if you have played FIFA the past few years, if this is your first one, you might not have noticed it, but, playing out from the back used to be incredibly simple. We all know that teams, especially at the elite level now, operate on really high intense presses. And, in the past, it was just so easy to play out from the back. And it shouldn't be. Even when you've got a really good set of ball-playing defenders, it should still be a bit tricky. Especially when you're not quite as good or quite as sharp as your opponents to pass out from the back. But it also happens the other way around as well. You would have seen it throughout the course of this series. Maybe not as much because I am playing on Ultimate, but there have been a couple of occasions where I've caught the AI out with a high press myself. And, I've talked at length about the gameplay this year and how starting off with the gameplay, I was really happy with it. The patch, not so much. But one thing I will give props to with EA this year, I often talk about it, I give them praise when they deserve it and criticise when they deserve it as well. Very, very objective, very fair. The one thing about their gameplay this year I've been a big fan of is that pressing mentality, which is so much more intense and so much harder to deal with. But having said that, I am going to try and be a little bit better, because those two goals in that last game were sus. I mean, really sus. Seriously, match fixing could have been possibly on the cards, how we thrown it away from 4-1, but thankfully held on for the win. Anyway, first game of today's episode, back to matters in the Premier League. Leeds United away at Ellen Road. Finally, it's a first goal of the season for Brennan Johnson, our captain, off the mark. First goal in 7 for the skipper, and then Ivan Toney gets another 10 minutes later in a 2-0 victory there. Defensively as well, I've really picked it up a lot more now. You'll have seen this game, Leeds did have a chance in the second half. Simple save for Dean, really, but otherwise couldn't break me down. I'm starting to get, I know it's ironic because I conceded 3 cheap goals against Nice, but I am starting to get a little bit better at defending now. I think one thing I was doing a little bit too much of when I first started playing FIFA 23 was coming out to meet attackers with my back 4 or my back 5 or my back 3, my back line basically. I should have said that. But I think I was coming out and dragging players out of position far too often. And, for the first game here against Aston Villa, case on point. Villa had a great chance here. Lukaku striking straight at Dean Henderson. You would have seen my back line. It was scattered. There was no organisation whatsoever. I dragged out one of my centre-halves. I think it was William I dragged out there. But, it's one thing I definitely would recommend. Now, I should never be giving defending tips, so I'll keep this one short and sweet. But I would say, if you are struggling to defend like I was at the start of FIFA, one thing I recommend is don't break your defensive line. Keep them all in a cohesive line. Otherwise, the AI is so good, their passing is so accurate and it's so quick as well. They all work the ball in behind, like Villa did there for their first chance. Good save by Dean. Thankfully, weren't punished on the other end, got ourselves in front. First goal, not of the season, but for the club for Lincoln. Yes, brought in a Brazilian from Fenerbahce last season, and of course he went down with the ACL. I think it was 10 games into the campaign. Really unlucky for him to miss his whole first season, basically, at the City ground. What a fantastic start this year. First 2 goals to the club coming in the same game. He's so good. He played a 1-2 with the post, gets it back and dunks it in to the back of the unguarded net. 2-0 up on Aston Villa. Lincoln with a brace. First goals for the club. So 2-0, Nottingham Forest. Quarter of an hour to go. Great chance for Villa to get back in the game. Hakan Çalhanoğlu denied though. We still led by 2. With 5 minutes to go, closing out the game, looking for a third goal here. Jaden Anthony off the bench, gets around his man. Referee plays a smart advantage through to Rhodri Brown down the left-hand side. One man to beat in John Stones. And just call him Rhodri JJ Okocha Brown. Oh, yeah, so good they named JJ Okocha twice. That's what the Bolton Wanderers fans used to sing. They signed him from PSG. I think he played for Frankfurt before PSG. I know he played for Hull in his final couple of years as well. But Rhodri Brown with the rainbow flick over the former Man City, Everton and Barnsley centre-half, John Stones. He got sent back to Oakwell with that move there. Yeah, glorious from Rhodri Brown. Absolutely sensational rainbow flick assist. It's true, I don't skill against the AI as much as I used to. Again, for those of you that watch me for a long time, you'll know I used to skill against the AI all the time. I don't do it as much now. Yes, I'll hold my hands up, and the main reason why is quite simple. It's very difficult to beat the AI with skill moves nowadays. You know, they're a lot more grounded, I suppose. They're harder to beat on the swivel, I suppose. You would have seen, you know, we scored a wonderful goal last season with Brennan Johnson skilling past Van Dijk. Obviously, that was a nice little body feint there. You would have seen the rainbow flick for the assist. But it is hard. It's the same with going around the goalkeeper. You know, I used to go around the goalkeeper all the time in FIFA. Now I only do it a few times a season. We did it on the opening day, to be fair, against Bournemouth. But it's just much harder. The AI has become a lot more robotic, I suppose, and they can read a skill move before you've even done it, which is, I guess, quite frustrating for the realism, really, but I guess it does add to the challenge. It does mean it looks even cooler and feels even sweeter when it comes off like that, with a lovely rainbow flick assist for Tony from Rhodri Brown for our third and final goal. So, the winning run extended. Following game, midweek, and we travel to Glasgow to take on Rangers at Ibrox. As we know, 5 defeats in 5 in the Champions League group stage. Got a chance tonight, though, to pick up their first and what would be only win of the group stage, and I really hope they get it as well. It'll be a shame to see them return to the Champions League and lose all 6, but taking on Rangers away at Ibrox, I was thinking, well, if they struggled in the Champions League in real life, they'll struggle in the game, right? No, not at all. Rangers were absolutely dominant in the first half. They led early through Sherlock, coming with a fan favourite there at Ibrox. We fall behind to Van Bronckhorst's side early, but absolutely just got so angry with myself at half time because it was one of those games where, and you'll play them, you just don't really get going. Do you know what I mean? Like, you just really, really poor, and you don't really get going at all. This was one of those games where I just sort of like felt like I was stuck in the mud. I wasn't getting the chances. We got back on level terms soon after the restart, but it was a really lucky goal. Clearance charge down, ball over the top, and Taiwo extends his run in Europe with another goal, his third straight in the group stage. But I couldn't defend either. I couldn't create, and I couldn't defend. Sherlock got their second, and his second to restore Rangers' lead. And to be honest here, it's deserved. I was playing really, really poorly. I was all over the place. 18 minutes to go. Needed to rescue at least a point. Couldn't drop points here, and thank God we would as well. A little cutback, but I'll take it. Diaby gets clear of the back line, rolls it across, and we love the Brazilian, the former Red Devil and Shakhtar Donetsk playmaker. Well, I'll call him playmaker. Really, this guy can do anything. Fred with the goal makes it Rangers 2, Nottingham Forest 2. Second time in the game we battle back from a goal down, but 3 minutes to go. Huge tackle by Reece Oxford keeps us still tied at 2-2, and after Rangers try not for a high press, catch me off guard, we're in behind the back line. One last chance to win it. He's done it once again. Taiwo with another. This guy is a European striker and not known for domestic goals. Don't play him in the Premier League. Don't play him in the FA Cup. He lives for Tuesday, Wednesday night football in the Champions League. Fifth goal in 3 games as Taiwo wins it at the death. Marcus gets in behind and left-hand side, rolls it across, and Taiwo bags his brace to cancel out Sherlock's and wins the game. You look at the stats here. Yes, we had a higher XG, but that's because, I mean, I scored 3 cutbacks, basically. Well, the first goal was a cutback, it was a chip over the top, but even so, 2 of my goals were cutbacks. That's why the XG was so high. I couldn't miss from there. But that was an awful game, man. It was absolutely terrible. And what's that old saying? You know, champions find a way to win even when they're not playing well, which we did. Huge turnaround victory at Ibrox there. And that does mean we stay in the top 2 alongside Barcelona. They beat Nice on match day 3. So what this means is if we both win on match day 4, Barca beat Nice at home, we beat Rangers in the reverse fixture at the City ground, we'll both be going through with 2 games to spare. And it'll just come down to who tops the group. I'm hoping Barca can do us a favour there against the French side, so we can know 2 games to go. We've already done it. We have qualified. So, pressure relieving victory there away at Ibrox. Winning run continues. We got away with it. I know I had to be better on the weekend as we travelled to Molineux to take on Wolves. Well, we had a faster start in this game. First got a chances falling early. Great save initially. And then the follow-up corner saw the header loop onto the crossbar as we were still tied at 0-0. But 5 minutes before the break, we knew the goal was coming to get the pressure up. And it would as well. Last season, he scored 3 goals all season long. This year, he's already matched that tally. Yep, the number on the back of his shirt is how many goals he's now scored in the Premier League in 9 games, averaging 1 in every 3. Rhodri Brown with another. I said this season might be the one where he turns into Gareth Bale. Well, we've already seen a couple of his goals reminiscent of Bale, storming forward and then finishing home with that left foot of his. Yep, 3rd in 9, and Rhodri breaks the deadlock right before half-time. Dynamic potential has ruined Rhodri Brown, I'll be honest. I'm sure I'll talk about him more in a future episode, but dynamic potential has totally ruined Brown. I mean, honestly, the plans I had for Rhodri were so exciting. I couldn't wait, man. You know, first year or two playing left back, then forcing forward. Well, we're in season 4 now, and it will take him like 2 years to become a winger because of the development plan. Obviously, you can only change position once the player is good enough to play that position. The rating wouldn't drop, but it's the fact that he's not growing very quickly. He's growing all right, but not as quickly, and his potential remains showing great potential. So at some point, he'll just stop growing altogether. Like the young lad we bought in from AC Milan, who has apparently reached his potential at 17 years old. Yeah, dynamic potential really is broken. Anyway, yeah, Wolves would turn this game on its head though. Rhodri goes to lead before the break, but this was a game of 2 halves. You know, I gave you a football cliche before the game, and I'll give you a cliche towards the end of it. Football is a game of 2 halves, and this one was. We were a far better team in the first half. We rued all those missed chances, especially from set pieces. Rhodri might have gave us the lead before the break, but come full time, we lost the game 3-1. Abrechize turned this game on its head. Absolutely phenomenal from the former Crystal Palace and QPR playmaker. He was sensational, and this goal, don't normally show too many replays, but I had to do it for that one. That was absolutely mega. Yep, 2 goals in the final 10 minutes for Eze after he set up the leveller, and Wolves win it by 3-1. Tight game, could have gone either way. Came down to who was more clinical. In the end, that was the hosts, Wolves, with the win. And there it is, our first defeat of the season in the Premier League, and only our second in all competitions. Knocked out of the Carabao Cup by Fulham. That was the only loss of the season up until then, but a loss to Wolves means Man City now take a 4-point gap on us to the top of the table. Impressive start, 6 wins in 9 and only 1 defeat, 7 goals conceded, really tightened up in the back, but we let Man City get ahead of us. We aren't going to catch up. But that will end this episode of Career Mode, guys. Big thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you had, then please do drop a like. Most love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode of Career Mode very soon.